Hi Sharif. In this video, let's discuss the query that you had mentioned about, where you would like to ensure that all the hardware rules are standardized. So first of all, what you can do is you can keep these rules separate. Right now, the problem is if you look at these rules, you won't be able to figure out which ones are the ones that were created before. Okay. Now, one way to do is that we select all of them and bulk edit and make them all inactive. For now, let's make them all inactive. That is one way. Or when you start with numbering, you start with 101, 101, 102. That way you can start it off. So for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this rule that you created. I think you have numbered it 0. I'm gonna make it 101. Okay. Now, like you mentioned in your video yesterday, you actually don't have to use these tags. So which is correct. Now what I'll do is here, or let me do one thing. Let me start from scratch. That will help you understand this better. Add hardware rule. Okay. What are the hardware rules that we actually need? We need carcass. Now this carcass rule builds a connection between carcass and top panel, carcass any panel. So left panel and top panel, right panel and top panel. If the back panel has no grooving, it will also create a connection between that. Okay. So let's say if this rule is 101 dot carcass. What is the rule description? Carcass again. Now I am not excluding anything in this. If I put this becomes standard for left top, right top, left bottom, right bottom, left and back, right and back. All of this now goes together. So this actually simplifies your rule building process on Infurnia now. Okay. So what I've done is I have marked this as true. You can keep it false, not a problem. Cabinet, no condition. Right now, we will not put any condition to this. Now, in case there is any confusion, you can also duplicate your tab and see for yourself what was the rule that was built earlier. Cabinet tag appliance unit where there was some 50 offset, additional offset. Similarly, not equal to wall units because wall units also we had some other uh, connectors added. Okay. This is between carcass and fiction. Now what happens here is carcass, no condition. Did I also use carcass, cabinet and wardrobe together? No. Okay, in this case we can actually, if the connector says so, you can go to or and add wardrobe as well. But I guess you have created cabinetry and wardrobe connectors separate, so let's keep it separate. Cabinet, no condition. What happens here? This becomes scenario. What is the scenario? Scenario type. So scenario is nothing but a uh, but the but the combination of any two panels together. Okay. So when you are adding scenario, you will select eccentrics. Eccentrics are for dowel, minifix, screws, hinge for shutter and carcass, cabinet connectors for connecting two different cabinets, and single panel connector for something like skirting legs. So we have definitely advanced here from the day you started using Infurnia. We have actually advanced in terms of our manufacturing. So let me know in case you have more hardware items that you would like to do the drilling for in factory. Okay, so let me select eccentrics. Then what will I do is, where is the scenario applied? This scenario is applied between panel 1, which is a carcass panel. This scenario is also applied to panel 2, which is another carcass panel. Okay. Here, earlier what we did is designer inputs we had added. What was the designer input? It was between two different types of connectors. So let's say if it's only dowel, then there was some set of hardwares added to the cabinetry or scenarios. And if it was screws, then dowel and screws both were added, if I remember correctly. So you can still use this. Now this with this, I had also added default designer input condition. So by default, let's say double is a by default condition that can also be put. In case there is no such condition, you can absolutely ignore this and leave it at this stage. Just put double. Just put double. So this says Alma double one kit base left and right. Both are here. Okay. You decide which one you have created for this particular type of cabinet. Only thing that I saw yesterday was that this range between 120 to 350, the range has, so the second connector that you are adding should be in the middle if you are standardizing. Otherwise, in case of left panels, it will come at this distance, and in case of right panel, it will calculate the same distance from the back side. That's the problem. So you can actually keep it in the center and then go ahead. Okay. Um, is there any other one? I, I'm not sure. I'm just selecting this one right now. And in case if it's with the designer input, you can decide and you can then add two different connectors within one condition here. So there are options to add two different connectors to this particular scenario. So for now, I'm clicking on done. You can use the same rules. Now if I search 101, it's here. I can actually clone this to, let's say, 102 and change it to carcass and fixed shelf. Similarly, we can clone this to carcass and adjustable shelf. What happens in carcass and fixed shelf? You decide which connector to put in. Cabinet, carcass panel, and then in this case, panel 2 becomes fixed shelf. Okay. Panel 2 become fixed shelf. You can put the dowel or connectors, whichever you need, whichever card you need, you can apply and done. There is one more thing that can be done if you don't want to do so much of work. That is, you can replace the existing connectors. How does that work is, let's say for example, this connector is applied somewhere, but you still want to replace it with the standard connector. You can actually replace in selected rules, select the rules wherever it is applied, and then next, and then select the one you have created now, choose this and next. I'm not doing it right now, but just telling you that this is also possible. In that case, you'll have to replace all the connectors that is added to standard connectors. You will then not have to create rules once again, which are already created. You can simply just replace and still get going with the ongoing work. Yes, of course, if you want to standardize, you might have to create the rules once again. Okay.